Good morning and welcome to the Moving to Denver podcast with your host, Hayley Bartlett. So, we are hitting fall here in the Denver area. It is the 13th of September, so we are not far off official fall. I always say fall starts the 1st of September because that is what I'm used to. In Australia, we have seasons. Our seasons are different and we usually start them at the beginning of the month or the quarter. So I already think it's fall, and last night our temperatures got down into the 40s overnight. So we like to open windows at that point, but I also like to get triggered by allergies at that point. As fall starts to come in, I get allergies. I'm not sure what it is, but maybe if you're watching the video, you can see my eye is quite puffy today and looks a little dark. I look like maybe my husband gave me a little elbow in bed. But no, it's just allergies, and this happens to me at least once a year where my eye swells up. I also have trigeminal neuralgia, so all these nerves around my face kind of light up and it hurts a little. So yeah, excuse the look today. Excuse me if I stop and sip on my tea because it helps. And so if you're just listening and there's quiet spots, I'm just sipping on my tea. I have my essential oils going in here today. So I like to use the allergy blend, which is peppermint, lemon, and lavender. So I have that going to help me as well. And I think at some stage today, I will close up these house windows and pop the AC back on just for a few minutes, just to kind of clean everything out and give my lovely puffy eye a chance to get better. So that's about me today. There you go. You just learned all about how my day is going. I am talking today on this episode about transportation in Denver. So I hope these little episodes in season 2 have been helping. I know I don't have guests on. Basically, you just have to listen to me ramble. And believe me, I don't love listening to me ramble. So I get it if you don't want to either. But I do hope there's some helpful information in here if you are moving to the Denver area. So we have covered a few things in the past few weeks. Today we're going to talk about transportation because that's a big one, right? If you move to an area and maybe you are going to be working in downtown Denver, or maybe you're going to have to go to the airport a lot, or maybe you just like public transportation better than driving. We have so many cars on the road here in Denver and traffic can be a nightmare. Now, we are not the most advanced city when it comes to public transport, but we are getting there. And there has been a little catch up in the past few years. So today I'm just going to talk about your different options when it comes to public transportation and getting around the city or getting to the airport or getting to Boulder and so forth. So if you are coming in to the airport and you're looking for a way to get into downtown Denver, the airport light rail is a good way to go. So it goes from the airport to Union Station, and of course Union Station to the airport. So it's a good way to get to downtown Denver from the airport. Trains leave about every 15 minutes between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. And there are about 8 stations. So it's about I think around $9 to ride that into downtown Denver. So that can be a good way if you're coming to visit and you are not going to get a car or you don't want to Uber, then the light rail can be a good way to get into downtown Denver from DIA. Sorry, there I go, sipping on my tea. So that brings up the light rail. So the light rail has been growing. We have main trains that leave from Union Station, and they have worked on Union Station over the past few years, and it is quite a beautiful spot. I like to go there and just have lunch or grab a drink. It's a sweet little spot. So they have the underground station, which is for the buses, and then upstairs is the light rail. So you can come from, let's talk about some of the cities you can come from into Denver or go from Denver to. So there's different rail branches that run. I won't talk about letters because that will get confusing. But if you go check out like Denver Light Rail, or then you can find the map online and it'll show you kind of where you need, which rail line you need to get on to go where you want to go. So you can go out to Wheat Ridge via Arvada. That's one of the newer rails that they have going. You can go to Westminster. You can go in the opposite direction out to Littleton, or west out to Golden. Of course, there's the one that goes out to DIA, and currently they are also working on one that will be going out Thornton Way, and it will stop at around, I think the last station they have, maybe the last station they have built will be right now around 124th to 136, I want to say, is the last station that they'll build. And then they do have plans to extend that, but for now it's taken a long time. Like, I think they're like at least a year over what they projected on that Thornton line. So I know there's a lot of people waiting for that. Thornton is a great area to live. Coming up north is a great place to live. So having that light rail access is going to be great. So there's some things like if you want to go to a football game at Mile High, if you want to go to a concert at the Pepsi Center or a hockey game at the Pepsi Center, if you want to go to Coors Field and watch the Rockies, or if you want to go to Elitch Gardens while it's still there, or if you want to go to Union Station just to hang out, you can do that from a lot of locations. Now, if a light rail doesn't cover that, we do have buses. So I know we have buses from Boulder and Broomfield, buses from Longmont that can bring you into the city. And a lot of those during rush hour are flyers, so they don't have too many stops. I know a lot of people that enjoy catching those buses. They can catch up on podcasts, or they can read or get some work done, on the way to work and then on the way home as well. So a lot of people use those buses or get one of those buses to a connecting light rail station, so maybe to Westminster or Arvada, and then catch the light rail down into downtown. So it can be a good way to travel around the Denver area, and you can come in from either side using those light rail stations. Hopefully we'll keep seeing the light rail expand. It would be great to see it expand, and this would probably take years, but all the way to Fort Collins, all the way out to Colorado Springs. I have a friend that drives from Colorado Springs into Denver to work, and I don't know how he does it. It sounds like a nightmare to me. But I actually do think he drives to a certain spot and then gets on the light rail or gets on a bus. I have heard him talk about that. But it would be nice to have those options coming in to Denver from all of those spaces. Now, once you get into Denver, the 16th Street Mall Ride is free. So if you are visiting downtown Denver and you want to check out the 16th Street Mall and you're sick of walking, or you have, something that you don't have the ability to walk, then you can catch that 16th Street Mall Ride up and down the mall and hop on and off. And I believe it's free. Last time I caught it was free, so it should still be free. Bustang is another option. So that's air-conditioned bus. They have Wi-Fi equipped. You can go to, now this is your option. You can go to Grand Junction, Colorado Springs, or Fort Collins. So if you want to get into Denver, you can do that via the Bustang. I'm not sure what the options are with the Bustang. Not sure if it leaves every day. Not sure if it's just a, 3 times a week option. I know when my sister was visiting at one point, she thought about catching it to go a couple different places. I know she caught one from St. Louis one time to Chicago, and she actually didn't think it was too bad. But this one goes shorter distances, obviously, but you can go from Union Station in Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, out to Grand Junction. So that gives you some different options to see those different places. We have Amtrak from Union Station as well. I believe that goes to west out to San Francisco or east to Chicago, and then there's lots of Colorado stops on that Amtrak that you can get off and on. So if you are wanting to take a vacation somewhere in Colorado and you don't want to drive, maybe you want to check that out and see what stops are along the way and just book a vacation at one of those spots. Colorado is an amazing place for in-state travel. And I have a guest that I am organizing to come on. She runs Heidi Town, which is a Colorado travel blog and website, and she has such great information. So that's going to be a future episode where she talks about all the great places you can take mini breaks or take spring break or take a proper vacation right here in Colorado without having to leave the state, which is awesome. So yeah, you can catch Amtrak and get off along the way. In winter, there's also a ski train that runs to Winter Park. So this is a new addition in the past couple of years. So you can take your skis, take your snowboard, hop on the train and head up to Winter Park, which is awesome because you will learn quickly if you move here that winter ski traffic is not fun. It's not something that you want to deal with, especially on the weekends. 70 and the other options that get up to the mountains get backed up. Accidents happen because it's quite often snowing or icy and road conditions aren't perfect. So accidents can happen and that road just gets backed up and it becomes a mess. And it's a shame. Like we try not to go up to the mountains in winter because you can get stuck in this traffic, but it's so beautiful up there in the winter as well. So the ski train is a really good option to get up to Winter Park and back. Sorry, sipping on my tea again. So those are train and bus options. Now, airports, of course, we have Denver International Airport, which I have been to quite a few airports in my life, international and within America, and I find DIA to be one of the best. In general, you get through the lines quick, people are polite, and the airport has done a really good job in the past few years of upgrading the restaurants and bars and options to sit and wait for those planes. It is still under construction, so there are still parts of the airport that just look terrible or messy or ghost towns. Hopefully they'll have those done soon so we can, fully enjoy all those options that they're putting in there. So we have DIA, and of course I talked about the train that goes into Union Station from there, and then there's also, Uber, Lyft. There's buses if you're going to Fort Collins or somewhere a little further and you have a lot of luggage and not getting a car. There are green buses that run back and forwards. So there's a lot of options to get to where you want to go from the airport. You may just have to pay quite a bit of money for them. We also have some smaller airports in the area. And this came up with one of my listeners here on the podcast. And shout out to you. Thank you for, always contacting me and asking me questions. I appreciate that and I love to help. But they had asked about the airports and the surrounding areas and how much air traffic and noise comes from these surrounding areas. So it's good to know about these little airports. There's one in Centennial. And that is a busier one. There's one in Broomfield, and that is a busier one. And noise affects that Superior area around that airport because, like I said, it's a smaller airport than DIA, of course, but it is a busier one with the light planes coming in and out. There is one in Erie, which is, the planes do fly over some of the houses there in Erie, but it's not a bigger deal as the Broomfield Airport. And then there's a small airport in Boulder as well. And there may be more around, but those are the main ones I know about. So if you're going to buy in the areas of Centennial, Broomfield, Louisville, Erie, Boulder, then it's kind of good to do your research and see where those flight maps kind of come in, see where the planes are taking off and landing from, and see where the areas that affect the area around that airport that gets affected by the noise. And most cities that have those airports should have those maps online. Let me know if you have questions about those airports, and I'll see what information I can get to you. But it's good to know about those. Plus, if you are lucky enough to own your own plane, or you want to do, flying lessons, then it's good to know about those places as well. So those are, of course, smaller airports than our main Denver International Airport. I'm going to take another sip of tea here. So now we have covered train, plane, bus. Of course, you can get anywhere by car here. We have, our main interstate is 25, and it runs all the way from Wyoming all the way down to the other end of the Colorado border. So that's probably one of our busiest interstates. It can back up, especially through the Denver area. But if you have a little patience, it can be a good way to get places. And then we have toll roads, interstates, back roads. We have all that. Now, Denver is great because in general, the map is in squares, which makes it easier for people to navigate downtown Denver. So the roads are in squares, but there are some one-way roads that can be a little tricky. So you need to watch out for that if you are driving in downtown Denver. But in general, it is a pretty easy city to navigate driving in, whether you're going, taking the interstate past Denver or you're going into downtown Denver. It is pretty easy to navigate. Just make sure you have a general idea of where you're going first. Now, if you're in downtown Denver and you're visiting, there's a couple ways you can get around. You can use the Uber, Lyft options, of course. We have taxis in the city. There are the RTD city buses. That's what my brain couldn't grab onto before. If you're looking for maps, RTD is the place to go. There's pedal cars in downtown Denver, so you can get a ride on the pedal cars. We have the B-cycle rentals. So if you want to get around on the city on a bike, you can rent it from one spot, drop it off at another. Those electric scooters are coming in and getting quite popular. I think Fort Collins have already instituted those, and I have seen a few around Denver. When we were in Texas, they had those electric scooter rentals, and people just dropped the scooter wherever. It was kind of messy. I don't know what I think about those electric scooters, but they are becoming an option. There are also trails through Denver. The Cherry Creek Trail goes right through Denver, so you can walk along those trails or run. And downtown Denver also has some horse and carriage rides, if that's your thing. So there's different options when you're actually in the downtown area. So travel. Those are some, commuting options. That is our main kind of public transport options when you are visiting the Denver area. Now, when you do come to Denver and you are wandering around, whether you are walking or catching a bus, catching a train, catching a taxi, getting on the pedicab, you want to make sure you have a few things. So you want to make sure you have sunscreen. We are closer to the sun here, and I can tell you, being a fair-skinned person, that I get burnt easily here. I can be outside for an hour and end up with, rosy shoulders. So make sure you have sunscreen, especially if you're going to go out and navigate the area and walk around all day. Make sure you have water with you. Of course, we are at a higher elevation, and having that water and keeping hydrated is important, especially if you are going to enjoy some of our breweries or distilleries or bars. Then you want to make sure you have a bottle of water with you at all times, and make sure you are sipping on the water. If you are fair-skinned like me, you may want a hat just to keep that sun off your face. You'll definitely want sunglasses. It doesn't rain here too often. When it does rain, it's usually done within 10 to 15 minutes. So you can usually run and, find cover. I wouldn't worry too much about having a raincoat, but if you are coming in winter, then I would make sure you have hat and gloves and a coat, because of course it can get chilly. So recapping, if you are looking to see where all these different light rail lines go, where buses connect, go to the RTD website, and there's a map on there, and you can kind of follow the color lines and it'll show you where everything goes. If you're coming from the airport and you want to get to downtown Denver, then you want to catch the airport rail from DIA, and you want to catch that to Union Station and then hop off at Union Station, and you can navigate your way around there. There are hotels close to Union Station so that you don't have to go too far. Of course, we have the buses. We have the things like Uber and Lyft. You know, we have a pretty good interstate system throughout Denver and around the areas. But if you are coming just for a week to visit and your central spot is going to be downtown Denver, then I would consider using the rail from the airport to Union Station and then navigating things from there. So if you have any questions about transportation around Denver, or if you are moving here and you are wondering where the best place to live is compared to where you're going to work so that you can catch the light rail or you can catch a bus to work, I'd be happy to help you navigate through that to help you make a great decision. If you're moving to Denver, I'm your girl. Contact me, Hayley Bartlett, Your Aussie Agent. If you look at www.yourausieagent.com, you'll find my details on there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can if you leave me a message. All right, guys, I hope you are having a great day. I hope allergies are not kicking your butt like they're kicking mine. And sorry, oh my gosh, my hair looks totally messy here. I am just a messy hair kind of gal. It happens. Yeah, I'd love to chat with you if you are moving to Denver or you're looking for more details on the Denver area. I hope you are having a fabulous day, month, or year, and we will chat again soon. See you guys.